Hello, I'm Rachel, and today I'm going to talk to you about the effects of implementing educational programs in prisons. There are many problems in the United States correctional system that are not new, but continue to fester and prevent our country from having a successful and rehabilitative justice system. However, a fundamental social institution that remains the number one indicator of criminal behavior and recidivism is education. It is true that many people in this country feel that it is not fair for incarcerated people to have access to education, but there are numerous facts and studies that have demonstrated the importance and effectiveness of educational programs in prisons. Education can help address the inner workings and negative effects of the correctional system while also positively impacting every United States citizen in some way or another. In this sense, it is important to recognize that every individual in this country is a stakeholder in this discussion because education in prison allows for a variety of benefits, such as a decrease in taxes and the creation of safer environments. Families, friends, and peers are also positively impacted by their loved ones receiving an education while incarcerated, and productivity and contributions to society will increase because of expanded knowledge and because of expanded educational opportunities and access to knowledge for millions of members of our society. Every aspect of prison education has a positive impact, and to have both a successful correctional and justice system, it is imperative that federal and state prisons grant access to education for those who are incarcerated. I would now like to introduce some statistics that quantify what the benefits of education in prison look like. So, of 404,638 people who were released in 30 states, more than 3/4 were rearrested in 5 years, and more than half of these rearrests occurred in the first year following release. Spending $1 million on prison education prevents about 600 crimes, while the same amount spent on incarceration prevents only 350 crimes. So this is definitely a statistically significant fact because spending the same amount on education practically doubles the amount of crimes that are prevented. Furthermore, incarcerated people who were enrolled in college classes at an Indiana prison committed 75% fewer infractions than incarcerated people who were not enrolled. Additionally, for every $1 spent on education, approximately $4 to $5 is saved on incarceration costs. So this translates to saving taxpayers roughly an estimated $24 million a year based solely on the cost of reincarceration. There's also an average 43% reduction in recidivism rates for people who participate in prison education programs. And as the level of education increases, for example, obtaining a GED versus a bachelor's degree while in prison, the rate of recidivism continues to drastically decrease. These are some highly significant statistics that demonstrate the capacity that education has for improving the lives and well-being of millions of people. And not only do incarcerated people benefit, but so do their peers, family members, and loved ones, as well as communities and the nation as a whole. To address education in prison is to positively address tax rates, problems with prison overcrowding, recidivism rates, and behavioral problems. I'm now going to briefly mention the impact of education on criminality because it is important to understand the role that education plays in affecting behavior starting from a very young age. The social institutions that have the greatest influence on us from the time we were born are family, law enforcement, and school. However, education level is the highest indicator of probability of criminal behavior. There are numerous studies displaying the correlation between education and criminal activity, and therefore anyone who is in favor of decreasing crime rates and living in a safer country should also support developing access to quality education for every single individual in the United States. This graphic displays astounding statistics that, quite frankly, cannot be ignored, and it is incredibly wild to see the correlation that various levels of education have on sentencing and arrest rates. Unfortunately, the effects of things such as the school-to-prison pipeline and kids of different socioeconomic statuses receiving disproportionate access to opportunities and quality of education affect the difficulty and accessibility of completing high school and higher education, which in turn perpetuates the cycle of low education levels and prison rates. Therefore, it is crucial that efforts are made to break this cycle, as education truly does wield the power to decrease crime rates and better society as a whole. I'd now like to discuss how and why education in prison has become such a polarizing debate that has resulted in discord and controversy in the United States. To provide a brief summary, eliminations of rights and opportunities for incarcerated people developed as a result of the punitive correctional system that exists in the US, which emphasizes mass incarceration based on systemic racism. There's a loophole that exists within the 13th Amendment that allows slavery to be legal in the case of punishment, and thus punishment is treated as an outlet for slavery in our country. The continued role of systemic racism and the mistreatment of African American and minority citizens is what enables mass incarceration to prosper, and it's truly hypocritical that we call ourselves the land of the free and preach that all men are created equal because of the ways in which our country was and is built to advantage white people. And because we have a system that prioritizes punitive punishment instead of rehabilitation, we therefore have an influx of people who believe that anyone who has been convicted of a crime does not deserve access to education. This belief stems out of our society's highly problematic view on the purpose of punishment, in addition to the exorbitant price tag associated with higher education. And while there are a variety of problems and opinions on how the correctional system should function, education in prison does not have to be a partisan issue. In fact, it's an everyone issue. The benefits and positive effects are staggering, and providing access to education initiatives in prison will truly benefit every single individual in this country, whether it be through stronger communities or safer communities, stronger and improved relationships, or through a nice tax break. It is imperative that we actively work to reject what we have been taught about mass incarceration while simultaneously supporting the creation of opportunities such as education in prison that will in turn vastly benefit society. That is all for my presentation, and thank you for watching.